A staggering 24 trillion shilling budget for the coming financial year is now being viewed with skepticism by members of the public and civil society that there may be underperformance instead.
Our evidence shows that we shall be able to finance our country's budget for the next financial year to the tune of up to 44.5%. There is a huge deficit of 55.5%, which will have to be a top-up through domestic borrowing, external borrowing, and maybe some funds from the private sector. The disadvantage with that is that you are highly relying on someone else's money.
According to government, the adjustments in the new budget has made provisions for 4.6 trillion shillings in debts that are due for settlement but now anchored on the new Public Finance Management Act 2015.
This core agenda which submitted, the additional resources for appropriation which submitted, the bulk of it, 90% of it, is for statutory appropriation to redeem the government securities that we have already acquired, to pay back the domestic debt that we have already acquired. And we are not adding on additional debt, we are not adding on additional money. It is totally budget neutral.
486.1 billion for recurrent expenditure, 446.8 billion shillings for development expenditure, 4.6 trillion shillings for the statutory expenditures. Now, Shadow Finance Minister Geoffrey Kanya maintains that there is not sufficient disclosure by government on the new budget adjustments.
5.7 trillion. Show us when was this debt issued. If it was a bond, show us when was it issued, how much have you paid in terms of principal, in terms of interest, what is outstanding of each. If it is a treasury bill, was it a 10-year, was it a 3-year, you get me? Was it a 3-month, was it a 6-month? You want a detail, and that is the law of Uganda.
Tax experts alike are pressing that the changes that have resulted into a bloated and near double budget requires a lot for it to function effectively.
When that number moves from 15 trillion to 25 trillion, you are going to see very significant impact at the macroeconomic level. One, prices. Money supply is going to actually almost double in the economy. If Bank of Uganda does their best to actually trickle that inflationary tendency, they'll have to be forced to increase interest rates. Mind you now, the interest rate for the banks no more is about 2022.
A cross-section of the private sector are arguing that millions of small and medium enterprises may experience a near delicate business environment as a result of this huge budget.
The environment is tough, but we don't want to be overly pessimistic. But what we want to tell government is that you have a duty to support small businesses to thrive. You shouldn't be making their life harder than it already is. You know the cost of electricity is high. Small businesses have issues with workspaces. They have issues with accessing affordable finance. They have issues with access to markets. They have issues of quality.
There are also now increased fears that the new adjustment on the budget projections for the now approved 24 trillion shilling kitty will heavily impact on the country's foreign reserves.
Our reserves stand at 3.8 months. That is way below our projected 5 months. So we are in a crisis. If we are going to continue borrowing, much as we want to finance big infrastructures like roads, we have to keep in mind that we really have to maintain the 5 months of forex reserves in our country.
Reina Ojan, NTV.